All right, guys, back outside here at CycleCon with Zach.
I represent Vapor Propulsion Labs, and we distribute Bosch and Pinion and Supernova and 3x3 internal gear hubs. So different type of drivetrain systems and lighting systems for bikes and trikes.
Okay, very interesting. And so we've seen, I'm sure, a number of these in our travels around the event. So let's get into some specifics. Let's start with Bosch motors. We have seen lots of Bosch motors on various products. So if you could start out by letting us know who you collaborate with these motors, and then we'll talk more specifically about the motor.
Yeah, so we work with our friends at TerraTrike and Catrike. And basically from a motor standpoint, there you can see on these trikes, there's either kits that can add a motor system to a boom and a bolt-on battery, or a trike that is already electrified to begin with.
Good. So now, early on, when there were a lot of e-assists being put on trikes, we noticed that Bosch seemed to be the one. This is where everybody started. Now we're starting to see some other manufacturers in there. Why would Bosch be the best choice to put on their trike or bike?
You know, for me, it comes down to the service, the accessibility of spare parts, the accessibility of spare parts 8 years from now, 10 years from now. Can you get a replacement battery? Can you get a replacement motor? What is the longevity of your vehicle and the parts availability? And from a Bosch standpoint, Bosch is an automotive company. Everybody knows Bosch from the spark plugs and the windshield wipers and you know, your appliances in home. All that stuff is very well known. And they brought a lot of that automotive expertise into the mobility expertise. And they have this philosophy that if you have a system, you should have parts available in the future. And so in the mobility side of things and the e-bike side of things, when this particular motor stops production, there will be availability of those spare parts for a minimum of 8 years from Bosch. And at the end of that period, it then goes to an aftermarket third party. So you have this timeline of availability that's basically number one.
That's right.
And number two, being able to service these. There's over 5,000 dealers in the U.S. and Canada that have the training to be able to work on them. So if someone is buying these from a dealer, they can always get service from that dealer. But if they're traveling, there's a good chance that they've got a dealer close by that's also trained.
That is no small thing, Zach. And so you have the comfort of knowing that these are trained people at these bike shops that know about these motors, can take care of it, and the parts part of it, right? So Bosch is not going anywhere, for those of you who know the company. So, all right, Zach, so now we're back inside and we're looking at a gear system, Pinion gearing. So maybe, Zach, if you wouldn't mind, let's go all the way back to the beginning and explain what a Pinion gear system is about. Why would you put that on your bike? What does it replace?
Well, there's the complexity of a derailleur and a cassette system, especially on a trike, that can complicate things. So what this does is this consolidates the whole drivetrain into a pretty small gearbox. It comes in a 6-speed, a 9-speed, a 12, or an 18-speed. It comes in a mechanical twist shift like you see here, and in a second we'll show you the E-shift system. But basically, as you change the indicator on the grip shift, you're changing the engagement of gears inside of the box, and then the speed of the output driver here. It's either a belt drive or a chain drive. It's a sealed system with an oil bath inside. Every 6,200 miles you do an oil change, and it's totally serviceable. It's basically a gearbox for life. And we can do the refurbishments here in the United States. Dealers can do the oil changes themselves, and we can also take a gearbox that's been in the field and say, 20, 30,000 miles are on that gearbox. We can bring it back to quote unquote new. So it's an alternative drivetrain that we're pretty excited to represent in the U.S. and Canada, and you'll see a few different variants here at the show.
Awesome. So totally replaced your derailleurs, right? I mean, it's It's simplicity itself, and it sounds like reliability as well.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, Zach. So now, I guess the latest here. Tell me what we have.
This just started in production in Germany, and so if people want to look at something that further simplifies the plumbing, as it were, on a trike, they could go with an E-shift system. So inside of the gearbox, you've got the same 9 or 12 speed shifting, and now you've got an E-shift version as well. So a simple wire that goes back to the gearbox. So we're pretty excited about this. This is going to start coming to the U.S. in November.
Okay.
Late November, yeah.
So we'll probably start seeing these on bikes and trikes maybe early next year, huh?
That is correct.
So Zach, thanks a lot for showing us around with Bosch and Pinion. Really interesting stuff. Thanks.
Happy to be here. Thanks.